Let's move into the Western Conference, and now we're going to give our playoff teams, 1 through 8. We're going to give our seeds and talk a little bit about the Western Conference, give a little bit of a preview for the upcoming season, the 2019-2020 season. So, Ricky, take us 1 through 8 in the Western Conference.
Yeah, going 1 through 8. Number 1, it's Kawhi, it's PG, it's the Clippers. They're going to be number 1. Number 2, the Denver Nuggets. Then number 3, the best team in the NBA, if you look at our team rankings, the Utah Jazz. Then at number 4, the Portland Trailblazers. Number 5, it pains me to put them this low, but I will. The Los Angeles Lakers, tempering my expectations. It's a little bit too high last year. Going to temper them. Maybe LeBron brings them a little bit higher than 5. Then the Rockets at 6. The Warriors sneaking in there at 7. And then the Spurs with the third best head coach in the NBA at 8.
All right, Dave.
I don't even want to talk.
Dave, 1 through 8.
I don't want to talk after I heard that. Fans, if you're still listening, thank you for giving us another chance.
Just go to my coaches' rankings. You'll understand.
Thank you for giving us another chance if you're still listening at this point. Number 1 in the West, I have the Rockets. At 2, it's the Clippers. 3, the Jazz. 4, the Lakers. 5, the Nuggets. 6, the Blazers. 7, the Spurs. And 8, the Kings.
Kangs.
No, they're in the playoffs. That's why Kings. I will show them the respect because they've made the playoffs on my bracket.
All right, 1 through 8 for me. I have at 1 the Denver Nuggets. At 2, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. At 3, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. At 4, I have the Utah Jazz. At 5, I have the Portland Trailblazers. At 6, I have the Houston Rockets. At 7, I have the Golden State Warriors. And at 8, I have the San Antonio Spurs. I'm glad we don't have to do like cumulative or anything like that.
Yeah, that'd be really
we can just get it done, and
Yep.
people know who's attached to who. Let's start off with the number 1 seed. Why do you guys have your team winning or coming out as the best team in the Western Conference?
So originally, I went through a couple different drafts of this. Originally, I had the Nuggets because I'm like, you know what, the Nuggets are going to do it. Clippers are going to do load management. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? No, Clippers are going to, even if, because Kawhi last year, it was like, when he was out and they did the whole load management, Sean mentioned it. He either mentioned it earlier or he mentioned it in Hot Takes, one of the two. I think it was in our Eastern Conference segment. They still won games. It wasn't like they were doing it against teams that they were going to lose against. It's not like he was doing it against the Bucks and stuff. And even if they do it, Paul George is on the team. Like, the Raptors didn't have a Paul George-like player. So I think the Clippers will be fine enough to be the number 1 team, be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference.
Yeah, my Rocket pick leads into my hot takes. So you'll have to check that out. But
how many games they win in, Dave?
I got them winning 60 games.
Okay.
I legitimately think this team with 2 of the best point guards any era has seen, there's a very good chance that because Dan and Tony knows how to run offense, these guys take work off each other's backs. It's going to work out really well for them. It's really just down to, whatever role players they can stuff in there. And if there's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Andre Iguodala deal, if they can get Andre Iguodala out there,
the magic prize just sitting out there. Who's going to get him?
That's a floating ball out there that if they picked him up, that team easily.
Yeah, and for my team, at least for the Nuggets, I know it's pretty uninspired, at least for me, since I am the fucking Nugget fanboy on this team.
You are.
But I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me is I think people are expecting them to take a step back, but I really don't understand why. Gary Harris played poorly last year and was injured. He is one of their better players, and if he is able to return to form, that's just another player that's just going to be, at a next level. Mm-hmm. Nikola Jokic struggled from 3 last year, but that's not what he's done historically. I think that he can be around a 35% three-point shooter. So he's gonna, if you have a Nikola Jokic who is dropping 20 a game and 10 assists or 7 assists, 12 boards and shooting 35% from 3, where you know what a mismatch he is. Jamal Murray naturally is supposed to take a step up. They have Paul Millsap. They have a great addition in Jeremy Grant coming off the bench. They have a fantastic bench as it is already with Malik Beasley and Monte Morris. Mm-hmm. This team is pretty deep, and I think that's a big thing that's going to help them out. They didn't deal with too many major injuries last year, which I think is a big thing that some teams did do, but I think this is a team that's just going to start off hot right from the gates. This is a team that's going to be consistent. They're going to be able to play at home better than I think any other team in the Western Conference, and along with that, they're the one team that's not really adding any big new pieces, and we know how that can change up the whole balance of a team. We look at the Lakers; they're adding Anthony Davis, and they just got rid of half their team to get Anthony Davis and Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and all these players. They added Dwight Howard. We don't know how consistent this team can be with and without. I'm not saying the Nuggets are the most talented, but I do think they can be the most consistent. And for the regular season, I do think that matters because, yes, Russell Westbrook and James Harden could be a crazy duo if unlocked, but what if Russ is still Russ? And what if they're not able to blend those play styles together? And what if Russ isn't able to play off ball? With the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are probably the most talented duo in the league. Yeah. But with that, they both struggle with injuries. We saw what Kawhi was doing last year. He was not able to play a full 82 games. He wasn't able to play a full 70 games. And Paul George might be out for the first 2 months because of a shoulder injury. So we don't know how that's going to affect that team as well. So if these guys both need breaks at the same time, that could increasingly hurt their win total. Mm-hmm. So while they might be the most talented and best team in the Western Conference, I don't know if they're going to have their stars out there. And then with the Jazz too, you add Mike Conley, and Bojan Bogdanovic, and that might be an easiest of the three to mesh together. But I do think that some of these teams are going to struggle right out the gates to get all their pieces together.
Well, and that's the one thing I was thinking, Dave, I wanted to shoot this at you.
Yeah.
You're the one that's got the Nuggets the lowest.
I do.
When Sean says, people are down on the Nuggets, I'm like, no, I got them at 2. And then I look at Dave's and I go, oh, he's got him at 5.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think if you poll most NBA fans, they're probably going to put the Clippers above them. They'll put the Lakers above them. They'll put the Rockets above them too. The Jazz are iffy, but I don't think people are going to be like, oh yeah, the Nuggets can redo this. They didn't add anybody.
Is that was just your thought process, or is it something with the Nuggets?
I think the Nuggets had an incredible home win rate last year, and teams will start to figure out how to work around them and how to beat them at home. It's just what it is. It's a team that, yes, they were able to run up-tempo at times. They were able to have the multiple point guard steps. And I think that they are going to get better. They're an incredibly young and talented team. But I look at the teams who have more proven, and I just like what I see. I think Anthony Davis wants to prove something this year. I think LeBron James 125% wants to prove that he's still LeBron goddamn James.
He can stay healthy.
So I'm afraid of the Lakers team. I don't care if he's out there with 5 G Leaguers. Yes, that'd be 6 people on the court. I don't care. LeBron James would make that happen, and he would dunk on people. That's just who he is right now in his career, and I'm terrified of revenge LeBron James. The Jazz, I love this team, and we rank them highly in every position for a reason because they have great pieces who are veterans who are going to be able to step in right away and find their role, find their night to pop off on, but also at the same time, they understand Donovan Mitchell is well respected around the league. He's now played internationally again. I think everything for this team looks really nice, and I think they've got just a perfect blend of offense, defense. They've got great facilitation. They just have a lot of ball movement on that offense as well. But there's just a lot to love about that team. And I look at the Clippers and just yeah. So you mentioned the injuries and the load management. Fair argument. And I just go, well, so they got the 6th man of the year and the run-up to 6th man of the year. Yep. And then they added in, great shooting and shit. They're still going to win games is the problem.
Without a doubt. I'm not saying that they're not. I mean, they're my number 2 team.
I think the Nuggets are going to get brought back to reality as far as their home win record because they did incredible. And I felt like the whole, everybody plays up the altitude game and all that shit. But, I think at some point it's just a matter of okay, how do we force other guys to beat us? Because Jokic has showed us in the past that he's thrilled to put up 10 points a night and he'll have 15 assists that night. He doesn't have to beat anyone, and that's a mentality thing where I think that if teams try to egg him into that, he might beat them doing that even. It's almost better when you let Jamal Murray take shots because he's a streaky shooter at times and he can shoot them into games or out of them. So I think that's where I should see teams trying to focus on that Nuggets team is force the ball into guys' hands who don't have the most consistent shot.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I do think that 34 wins and 34-7 record at home is definitely probably not going to happen again. But with that, I also don't think they're going to be as bad on the road as they were. So I think there can be a balance with that, and I think having the ability to have as much depth that they have and the ways to beat you that they do have. That's why I think that they're going to be the number 1 seed. Now, I don't know if that's going to travel to the playoffs. I don't know if you can do that, 4-7 games, and we'll get to that when we get to the playoff predictions. But I think that's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, we talked about the Clippers already, just because you had them at the number 1 seed, Ricky. The other team that is big in the Western Conference this year is the Lakers. I had them at 2. Ricky, you had them at 5. Dave, you had them at 4. What do we expect from this team?
To me, there's part of me where when I was ranking them, I was sitting there going, well, I should have them 1, 2, or 3. Because, like Dave said, LeBron's going to want to prove that, hey, I'm the best in the league. That groin injury was a fluke. I don't get injured. I am the Iron Man. I am the Brett Favre. I don't get injured. So there's part of me that's like, I should have him higher than 5, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of like what you were saying with the Nuggets. It's the Blazers. We were so low on them last year because of their playoff series the year before. They got swept by the Pelicans. It's like, oh my God, how is this team? They're not even going to make the playoffs. And then they fucking ball out. They go ahead and beat the Thunder in the fashion that they did. And now it's like, okay, are we kind of counter-reacting on the other side where it's like, oh, the Blazers are going to be better this year, where it's like, no, are they going to be worse than the Lakers? So there's one, and then there's the Jazz. Like, are we just blowing smoke in the Jazz direction, or are they actually going to do something? Because it's nice on paper, but that's on paper. The games haven't been played yet. So, like, for me, I bought into the Jazz at 3, I will say, there's a reason I have them at 3. You'll have to wait for the postseason awards that we do on this podcast. That's the reason I have them at 3, because there's a big postseason award I have that goes with them. But I kind of bought in on the Blazers and Jazz taking the regular season a little bit more seriously. And LeBron knows, like, hey, we just got to make the playoffs. And in the West, it's like, are we going to try to kill ourselves to be 3 or 4, or just say, hey, even if we're 5, we can beat the Blazers even if we have to go there first, and I can beat any road with AD by my side, with this team by my side. Is that going to be the mindset of LeBron?
Yeah, I just think it's going to come down, for me at least. The reason I have him at 2 is just mainly what you say with LeBron. I mean, we've seen time and time before that, you know, he's not really always shooting for the number 1 seed, but they're going to win a ton of games, and we saw that in Cleveland. And I think we're going to get more consistent play out of Anthony Davis than we did Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love. While this team I don't think is, you know, great fantastically, like built, you know, up to LeBron's specifications.
Right.
I do think you still have good playmakers on that team. You still have decent shooters. Danny Green, I think, was a huge addition for that team. I love JaVale McGee. I think people thought we underrated him too in the center rankings, which is a fair take. I don't think
he played 25 minutes a game.
Yeah,
I mean, Dwight Howard could be the center.
He's capped.
But I do think that this team has enough around them to supplant these stars, because you look at the actual star power of these players. And I know I said Kawhi and Paul George might be the most talented duo, and there's so much fucking talent in the West that you forget.
Yeah.
But these are 2 top 6 players in the NBA when healthy. So I think that's just going to end up winning, because when you have all this talent going up against each other, and you have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray going up against LeBron James and AD, who the fuck am I going to take? I'm going to take the 2 top 6 players. When you have Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James taking it on each other, that's pretty much a wash. But when you have Anthony Davis going up against Paul George, I'll take AD. A lot of those things we can get going where I think I'll just take AD and LeBron. So I do think that in the end, we're going to see LeBron play over 70 games, unlike Kawhi and Paul George will, and I do think this team will be climbing up just because of LeBron James's ability to carry a team. Maybe we're overselling LeBron. Maybe LeBron isn't that good anymore, but I don't really want to doubt him. So
Until proven otherwise, I'm not going against LeBron James.
Let's talk about some of the teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. I feel like we can lock in the Blazers, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Jazz, Nuggets, and Clippers. Do you guys disagree?
Hey, that's fair, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the teams that we apparently cannot lock in, because Dave, you didn't have the Warriors in there.
I don't.
I didn't have the Kings in there.
Yep.
I think Ricky and I had
I
the
wanted
same
to put
eight.
You
Kings
two
at
had
8.
the same exact ones.
Yeah,
as far as
I
the
wanted
8
to put
teams, different
Kings
orders.
at 8, but I was like, you know what? I'll give Pop respect and put him at 8.
So let's
I
talk
think
about let's talk about these teams.
Yeah.
The Spurs, Kings, Warriors, and I think we could also throw in. Do we want to be nice and throw in the Pelicans? Or is that too much of a reach?
I thought about asking the question, not about actually putting them in.
Well, let's say for the 7, 8 seed, who do you think could fight for those spots? Spurs, Warriors, Kings. Who else?
Yeah,
That's it?
Do the
think that-
Mavericks?
they would have to take a hell of
I mean,
a step.
KP being healthy, Luka taking the next step.
KP is apparently yoked on the court now.
Yeah, I mean, he's not
Hashtag
Lowry.
on the court.
Hashtag on the court. No, there's a chance. There's I'll give you the point whatever percent chance. But yeah, no, I
but
think the
who
West.
realistically do you think can make the 7 and 8 seeds? Like, if you do you only have those 3 teams, the Kings and Warriors, and
Warriors,
Spurs?
Spurs, Kings, and I'd throw in the Mavericks over the Pelicans. Pelicans are just too. I want to say they're too young for this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the weird one is I think the Thunder if they don't trade anybody. Is that being too far out there? Chris Paul
Is he healthy?
Yes, yeah. If you give me a fully healthy, no trades on, like OKC could make the playoffs. Like Chris Paul is very good. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you have T. Ferg out there, Danilo Gallinari is one of the best shooters, Hamidou Diallo, Steven Adams. Like they actually, and you still have one of the top 6 men in the league, and Dennis Schroeder. Like they have a ton of talent on this team, and we're just writing them off purely because we expect them to sell off everybody they've got who's worth value, but
Except for Shea.
but if they, every piece over the age of like 23, you know. But that's the thing, if they don't, there's a team who actually could fuck with some people in the West.
They could be a sneak.
That's the thing, and I could see that genius of a GM being like, "Didn't get my offer, go screw yourselves. I'm gonna play him."
If they don't trade anybody, yes, but that means Chris Paul's gonna have to stay healthy.
Yep.
Which doesn't happen.
That's why I didn't put him in.
Bigfoot.
But I did say, if they're healthy and they don't trade, like OKC is not to be fucked with. Like, no, they're not the perfect team. No, they're not going to upset anybody. But
How high do they go? Are they an 8 seed?
It'd be Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous, Danilo,
I'd probably put like T. Ferg, Danilo
Ferguson,
at the 4.
Danilo,
yeah.
and Adams.
Yep.
Their bench,
Schroeder,
Hamidou,
and then I'm really
Patrick
blanking on
Patterson's still on that team. Like I feel like it drops off right after those. Even saying I mean Roberson's still on that team technically.
Yeah, if that
still
man's
has a
ever
contract.
healthy enough to.
And to go into the healthy thing, Chris Paul hasn't played in 82 games since the
Nobody cares about
14-15. Hasn't even played above 70 since the year after. Last two have
How
been
many times has he
58.
played 70? In his whole
70
career?
or more.
Yeah.
He played his rookie year, then 07, 08, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15, 16. 7 years.
Out of
his, what would that
12?
be?
No.
13 year career. He came into the league as a 20-year-old. He's 33.
It's more than I'm
last year.
expecting. So, I mean, I don't know.
60 plus healthy games from Chris Paul.
But then how many times did he get injured
trades.
in the postseason too? It's like
I don't care.
I don't know.
The regular season rankings.
True, but but I'm just saying.
These are.
I'm just saying, like, yes,
Yeah.
he played 70 games in those seasons, but like, then
I'm
when
just
did he
saying
get injured? Like,
this team has a chance. If
So you're
Chris Paul
saying
is healthy,
there's a
Yeah.
chance.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would take them. Like, the Mavericks would take a massive step if KP's 100% healthy and he gets better and stronger.
I'm not really pushing the Mavs.
And they
too
get
much.
depth,
I'm more pushing the Pels because I do think they have more depth than the Mavs. They don't have a Luka, but they do have a Drew Holiday who is already an All-Star. They do have a Derek Favors, who I'm fucking high on.
Could you
they do
imagine
have Brandon Ingram, Zion, Lonzo Ball. They're interesting.
Yes.
The mythos of Zion if he brings them to the playoffs year one.
I don't think it would be Zion bringing them to the playoffs.
Yeah,
though. I
but
think
that
it
would be the storyline we would all be penciling in, like forcing it
'cause
into
we're
that
not
slot.
Stupid.
We kind of are.
We could watch games and just be like, oh yeah, it's
I'm
not
saying
Zion doing it.
national media, we'd be like, I'm saying we because I'd be on that boat too. People would be saying it.
I don't know.
It could be said.
I disagree.
Yeah.
It could be said. It also it won't happen.
But no, I think there are like just a handful of teams outside for that 7, 8, 9, 10 that are all absolutely toss up, like absolute toss up. The West is going to come down to like that one game tie, and then 3 teams are going to be tied, and that's going to go to record breakers. Like
I just know
it's
one thing
gonna
for
be
sure:
intense.
the Suns are not going to be in question for it.
There you go. That is a safe bet right there. The Suns will not be a Western Conference playoff team. They are the 16th best team in the West.
Sorry, Suns fans.
Sean got that. But there's only 15 teams in the West.
Do you think that? I want to get your thoughts now. Why do you think the Warriors are going to miss the playoffs?
Steph hurt. Literally 2 words. Steph hurt.
Really? You think he's going to get hurt?
He always hurt. If you want to talk Chris Paul hurt, Steph hurt. Argument? None.
But who would you take?
Who would I take?
Who would you rather have?
Steph, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Steph's a better player right now.
No, but I'm just saying,
100%.
but I would rather even have like.
I would take Steph's injury history over Chris Paul's
I don't know.
injury
Steph's
history.
been nagging like
Steph's
the same
born
ankles
injured. Yeah, he was
over and over.
born
and over
injured.
And over.
Here's the thing, though, that I think is different with that.
Came out of the womb with a sprained
the
ankle.
the last 2 years,
Yeah.
and that's what you do. You look at the last 2 years with the
Because
KD.
that makes your case?
Well, no. I'm saying having KD,
Right.
you're able to, hey, take a little bit more time on that injury, where he played 51, 69 games.
Yeah.
Years before that, 80, 79, 79, where it was like, that I think plays into it as well. Not having KD on this team, how much of the injuries are, hey, take some extended time, compared to, no, when you're ready, like, we need you. And that's what I think it's going to be.
Are you really going to rush Steph back for this team, though?
And I don't.
Like,
I don't think it's a rush. I think that like last year when he got injured,
they have
year
no
before,
expectations. Be cautious with it.
And that's it. Where it's like, how many times was like, yeah, he could come back today, but we're just not going to have him come back. Where this year will be, yeah, he's ready to go. He's going to come back. Like,
but why?
Last year, because they don't have that safety blanket of having
But they also
Kevin
don't
Durant
have
on
a
this
championship expectation. In my
They're
mind,
the Warriors, man. Like, they're going to be in the running.
So they've got 3 players on that team. 3.
Hey, Clay's back by March. Clay's
Says
back
who?
February, March. It's
Says
not.
who?
It's a 9 to 12. ACLs are 9 to 12 month
So you're giving
healing
him that
range.
9?
I'm
What if they're out
saying
of the
he's going to be
playoff
back by 9. I think they are. Like, and that's why I have them
You
at
think
the
they
7.
are going to be out of the playoff
And
hunt?
no, they are going to
Listen.
be in the playoff hunt. That's why I have them at 7. If you listen to the end of mine.
No, but I was saying, like, if they are out of the playoff hunt, they're not going to bring them back.
Yeah, but I
was
think
joking.
they will be. Is the
I
thing?
know,
Yeah.
Ricky.
Yeah.
I could
just
see your
don't-
playoff prediction.
I just don't see this team
I also think they're going to be there.
having the ability to win that many games because I think Steph won't be able to carry a team. D'Angelo Russell and Steph, Draymond Green, all 3 fantastic players, yes. But
Do
they
they
don't
trade
have
too
depth.
low?
No. They don't have depth, and they don't have wing defenders. Like, they've got Draymond Green, who is a 3-4-5 defender,
Yeah.
but you can only put him on one guy. And after that, you got nothing to fight with. You got a half-ass Willie Cauley-Stein out there who knows on the night.
If they
And
stay healthy,
question
if
marks at
Steph
wings.
is healthy, do they make the playoffs?
I don't know.
How many wins
really
do you
don't
think
know,
they have
really.
then?
Dave.
Really, because the Kings
Dave.
are so deep. We talked about the Kings adding talent at every single position, veterans who know how to play the game, and this is a regular season thing. And to argue with your Nuggets argument, they're just a deeper team. They've got guys off the bench who are able to soak minutes and play, and then they still have young studs in De'Aaron Fox. They've got Buddy Woodward winner, put some respect on it.
Respect.
Shoots like Steph, big like Clay. He's got to have like 6 more nicknames we got to come up with over the years. But Bogey coming off the bench. You've got Harrison Barnes. You've got like the Kings team is so deep that they're going to be able to win 40 plus regular season games, no problem. I think it gets them to the point of now you're in that 40 to 50 range and you're fighting for a Western Conference playoff spot. And I think they can get there.
Dave,
Yes. You're hearing me.
if Steph Curry is healthy,
Yep.
if he plays, let's say 75 games,
Yep.
plays a typical Steph run,
Yep.
you don't think that he can will them to 45 wins?
I don't know. I honestly don't.
Dave.
Yeah.
This was a 2-time MVP.
Yep.
Probably the greatest run that we've seen over a 2-year stretch from a player in
It's
a very
incredible.
long time.
Absolutely incredible.
You don't think that they're going to be winning like 25 games just by the second quarter alone?
The odd
Steph Curry.
makers have them at 48.5 this year.
It's a lot of wins.
48.5. Which 48 last
Let's go to
year.
Vegas. Let's bet the under.
48 last year was the 8th seed. So that's where they're looking at. If we're going based off of last year,
Yeah.
but it's going to be obviously different.
I think I would put my money on the Kings being able to make the playoffs this year. I think that De'Aaron Fox took a
I think
huge step.
They could.
I think Bagley for half a season was hidden, and then when you unleashed him, you got great results. Now they've got the veterans in to close out games.
I
Do you
think
have
they
faith in Luke
could.
Walton?
And I would say the Spurs get knocked out before the Warriors. do.
Really?
Absolutely.
Why? The Spurs get more talent this year. They flip like the Warriors got worse and the Spurs got better, and you still think the Warriors are still above the Spurs?
The Warriors the Warriors got worse naturally because they lost KD, right? And they lost
they
and
Clay.
Klay
lost Clay.
Thompson.
But also
And they lost Chandra Livendala.
but they weren't that big of an impact player last year, especially not Livingston.
They both were, yeah.
Not
Last year Livingston did not make that much of an impact.
I beg to differ, but
Okay. We're not getting anywhere with
Yeah.
that conversation. No one also wants to hear the Sean
I know.
Livingston conversation.
I know, that's fair.
But this is a team that still had a 4 or 5 year run that was putting them at all-time greatest teams.
Yes.
This team isn't going to fall off that much. The NBA hasn't caught up that much to Steph Curry to where they are just going to fall out of the playoffs. Like, I understand that they added that much talent, but the talent gap between a Steph Curry and a DeMar DeRozan is vastly different than anything that the Spurs can throw out. And yes, they are much deeper. They have a fantastic coach. But I still think that Steph Curry is that much of a game changer that he could kill you in 2 quarters.
Yeah, because when you put in that second unit of Amari Spellman, Jacob Evans, Alfonso McKinney, Jordan Poole, Eric Paschal, Glenn Robinson III.
Did you see what James Harden did last year?
Alec Brooks, if he's ever healthy.
Did you see what James Harden did last year?
Yes.
He won that. He brought them to the playoffs.
But he had one of the best offensive coaches, thinkers in the league. He had the best pick-and-roll big man in the league.
Steve Kerr was above Mike D'Antoni in our rankings for a reason.
Doesn't mean anything. Those are. I'm just saying our rankings don't mean anything.
Okay,
Then why do we do 'em?
but you
Because I like to do them.
But you think that Steve Kerr's a better coach than D'Antoni?
Dan Antoni.
D'Antoni.
It's Dan and Tony.
Dan
D'Antoni.
and Tony.
You think he's better than D'Antoni?
I think that Steph Curry's had.
No,
I'm sorry. I think that Steve Kerr has had more talent to coach than him. Steve Kerr's claim to fame is moving Draymond Green into a central position in that offense as a post passer and letting them roll with very quick play offense and 3-point heavy shooting. And I think that Dan Antoni has done more with less, and the talent that he's had James Harden drag into the playoffs year over year is more impressive.
Then why did you put him below Steve Kerr?
Because I think Steve Kerr is going to have a pretty good year, but this is his prove it year. This is we took away the best shooter of all time from your team.
So then you think he's going to prove
best mid-range shooter of all time.
Steph Curry is
best
the
mid-range shooter of all time.
Yeah, okay, you're talking KD.
Yeah. And they took away your best 3-and-D player.
Yeah.
So like they've taken
half
away
the season.
at least half the season.
More than half a season. Half a season's like January.
Thank you.
a little bit more than half, but close.
If you think it's going to be back in
the season
February
ends
is the earliest he'll be back.
The
February,
season
March.
ends in April,
Yeah,
so it's
thank
it's back half of the season. It's post All-Star break.
Like you can't tell me that the talent on this team, like Steph Curry would have to do a MVP carry job in order to get this team to the playoffs.
Done that before.
Yeah.
And that's
Years
what
ago.
And I said that's what James Harden did before. That's what he did
I'm
last
glad-
year. If he has that ability to shoot 12 threes,
If he's
going
putting
to
up
shoot like
36,
40%.
12, and 6, then
I'm
maybe.
glad you said that. I'm glad Dave just said that was years ago, because the thing that I've been thinking about the Warriors the last few weeks is that I think people I don't want to call it recency bias, but I think just we forget how good this team was before they got Kevin Durant. It's like Kevin Durant came to this team and it's like, oh, they're so good because they have Kevin Durant. No, this team was really good.
They were 73-win team.
Before that. Exactly. Like before that. And I know that they're not going to have Clay early on, but I think this team has enough to, without Clay, get themselves into a position to make the playoffs to where, I hate to say it, like, yeah, I know the second unit will have to prove itself, especially some guys in the playoffs that'll have to spell minutes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a team that I feel like if Clay can come back February, March, and this team catches a full head of steam, like if he just gets on the move and train and then just boosts them to where they were, it's like, holy shit, they could be a dangerous team in the playoffs, and they'll be a lower seed, so they may have some favorable matchups.
I like the Kings. All right, I'm not going to bash you on putting them in there. I do like the Kings. I wouldn't be shocked if they made the playoffs. I just think I personally have to give more of cred to the Warriors because of what they have done, and I do think Steph Curry can absolutely take over a whole entire season like he's done before. So if they miss the playoffs, I'd probably be shocked, but it's not like you're coming from a stupid way where it's like just because.
Also the Spurs. I mean, I just want to give them credit. Like they literally are just returning more talent than they had last year, and they're going to be better.
They're unkillable. I mean, 22 straight years of making the playoffs. So I mean, that's why I have a
DeJounte Murray.
That's why I have
16 guys in the backcourt now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you still have Marcus Aldridge, you still have Rudy Gay, you still have DeMar DeRozan. Like they've got all the pieces to make it again.
Who?
I believe there was that Rudy Gay guy.
Fucking Rudy Gay, man.
That's going to do it for the Western Conference previews, and I think that's the highest note that we could have ended on. Let us know your thoughts on the Western Conference this year. Who's your 1 through 8? Who do you think is going to win and come out of the regular season with the Western Conference championship? I don't think they give out a trophy or whatever, but who do you think is going to be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference? Who do you think is going to make the playoffs? Let us know down in the comments below, and let's move into our playoff predictions.
You know who's got a